I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Ronar takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Well, welcome back to PSGL, and well, it has been quite a while since I've been on your screen. It's only been 7 days since the wonderful Amy has been on your screen, but welcome back to PSGL. It is round 5, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while, I'm a little bit rusty, but it's the best of British, and hopefully in for a good one. But, well, I'm sure I'm not in the minority. It's the first time that I've been in PCF2. So, Omi, please, give us a reminder. What happened last time out? What can we expect tonight? Give us that beautiful, beautiful rundown.
Well, it's been a very interesting season. I think that's the perfect way to start anything off with. It has been quite dramatic. We've had quite a few moments of brinkmanship between drivers as well. So it's been getting close around some interesting circuits of Austria, of Jeddah, of Spa, and last time out at Imola. Imola, a race won by Leo Lund. After getting 2 second places in a row, finally it was the top step of the podium for Leo Lund and a championship lead that stretches to 12 points in total. Now, when we left last round at Imola, we did not have the championship lead for Leo Lund at 12 points. It was a lot more closer than that. But Angelo Di Ortenzio, who got an in-game penalty on the last lap due to track limits, followed up then with a penalty by the stewards, so that's the PSGL stewards giving him a penalty as well for tyre hooking. So it's meant that he's dropped all the way, when you add up the 2 penalties, he's dropped from 2nd all the way down to 4th. So off the podium for Angelo Di Ortenzio. And Byron, that means he is going to be trying his absolute best to fight back with some momentum coming into this round. But one thing that's in his favour, he's taken 3 poles so far this season. They've all been in a row, so today he's going to try and make it 4 in a row.
Yes, 4 pole positions in a row is not a bad way to start your season, and obviously everything is very close and contested when it does come to championship standings, which you can see on your screen now. Leo Lund out in front with 48 points, and well, Liam Stevens there in second, followed by, as you said, Angelo Di Ortenzio, Luca Rapassa in 4th, Pasquale Ranielli there also in 5th, followed by Jan Halliday in 6th. So, you know, it's still all to play for, early days in the season for sure, but, you know, it is getting to that point where we're beginning to really see who's looking very hot this season, and you've got to say, Leo Lund, he is commanding in front at the moment, 12 points in it, but all it takes really is one bad result, and it really can all go pear-shaped in terms of your chances of that all-important championship.
Yeah, and it's going to be very important to be consistent across this season. Now, we mentioned Leo Lund, his first win of the season came last time out. The opening 3 rounds, it was 2 second places and then a 4th. That is what you call consistent, and those are the type of results that you need to get yourself to a championship by the end of the season. It's only, yes, it is 12 points. It's only 12 points, but considering the margins that we've had this season in PSGL, that is still quite remarkable for Leo Lund. And if there is anyone trying to break clear, it is going to be Leo Lund at this stage of the championship. Still a long way to go, but Leo Lund has got the momentum in this PSGL season in specific. If he is able to keep it clean, he's going to give himself a good chance here at Silverstone today around what is a challenging circuit.
Yeah, I mean, really, really important this one to keep that momentum going for Leo Lund. You know, as you say, 12 points is a relatively commanding lead, especially by PCF2 standards. We are used to things being a little bit closer, but there is so much time for things like that to change. And change it undoubtedly will. All it takes, as we were saying, you know, one poor result, that's it. It's all up in the air all of a sudden, and you're fighting with everyone once again. So it'll be interesting to see what we have tonight. But qualifying just around the corner, British Grand Prix. What are you expecting, Omi? Who do you think is looking particularly good? You've got an eye in for these drivers and their form. What are you expecting?
Well, I think there could be two drivers to watch. First of all, when it comes to this qualifying session in specific, a driver you have to watch is Angelo D'Ortenzio. I mean, there's a reason why he's managed to take 3 poles in a row. The other driver to take poles so far this season was Tony Hietala. That was in the season opening round at the Red Bull Ring. But when it comes to qualifying, when it comes to one-lap pace, not many people are getting the answer to D'Ortenzio, so it's going to be important to keep an eye on what he's going to be able to do. But Liam Stevens looked very good in another competition here as well yesterday, so it's a driver that you can definitely keep your eye on. He won around this circuit in another competition, so it's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on, of course, in his home race. And for quite a few of these drivers, their home races, so they're all desperate to try and perform, and for some of them also get their championship on track after a difficult start to their campaign.
Indeed, yeah. It's not been the smoothest of rides for many, but we don't need to ponder the question as to how things are looking any longer, because let's take it now, because it is time to get this qualifying session underway here for round number 5. And as we wait for the first driver out the pit lane, it is a bit of a waiting game to begin with, but they won't want to take it too slowly, because they have got a lot of pressure here to get out the pit lane quickly to get the most runs in possible.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get ready to make our way onto this Silverstone circuit, the drivers are going to get a couple of this as well. They will be trying to find their time back. That's very important, because sometimes we have seen it fall away and fade away for drivers come the final stages. So it's a cloudy day, typical British weather out here at Silverstone, but let's hope the rain is going to keep away. The wet PCF1 race yesterday, tuned into that one as well. That came alive at the end, I think it is fair to say, with Jarno of PSGL, which I think it is very important to mention. The drivers received a briefing yesterday, and they got in the briefing a clear message that will not be allowed to. You cannot come in to the pit lane in that way to try and grab yourself a win come the last lap.
Indeed. I'm just going to quickly turn you up, Omi. You're a little bit quiet, is what I'm being told. Here we go. You should be a little bit louder now, Omi, hopefully. But, yes, these outlaps, important though, getting those tyres into that working window. We know there's a little bit more pressure to get your tyres into the working window on this game as well. Game sound drowning out commentary. Hey, teething issues. It's the first time in a long while that I've done this, so hey, it happens to the best of us. Let's turn that down. Hopefully that is going to be that little bit more better for you, but we're getting there now, hopefully, not just with the teething issues, but also the qualifying session as well. Tony Hietala he drives for Veloce Academy, driving for V-Carb this evening, and, taking towards the first flying lap here, heading through turn number 1 flat out as expected, and already in towards turn number 3, braking there just after that 50-meter board, and straight into this difficult double apex left-hander. Very easy, very careful on the throttle, don't want to push too aggressively too early on. DRS wide open and down this little blast down the straight and into this very tricky left-hander. It's very easy to lock the tyres up going into this tricky sequence of corners, but now heading on to the old pitch straight and on towards the iconic Copse Corner.
Yep, Copse Corner coming up, and then it continues to get more and more iconic around this Silverstone circuit as you stand on the power and then you prepare for Beckett, and then you end up at the Chapel Curve, and then an overtaking opportunity come the race. But for now, all eyes, once you've navigated through this part of the circuit, will be down to Stowe Corner. You get a Sector 2 time on the board in terms of how you're going. Now, it will be more helpful come later runs in this session, because you'll of course be getting an idea on whether you're going faster than your previous lap time. We bring it down into Vale, and then about to go on to the Hamilton Straight, and it will be the benchmark for the rest of the field to beat in terms of lap time. So, Hietala comes across the line, it's a 1 minute 25.081. That is not miles off what we've just seen, and it's been beaten there. It has been beaten there. The F3 time that we saw a few moments ago, they were having their qualifying session. We've already beaten it. It's a 1 minute 24.952, currently being set by Stouchelek, and he's brought his teammate for company in P2.
Indeed, yeah. Now Comrade Bohm next across the line. Obviously no lap on the board for many of these drivers. He'll go 7th. His teammate is also about to come across the line. He'll slot into 5th. These early laps underway and pretty much done as quick as you can blink your eyes. And lo and behold, it is, well, looking good for Ben Sabaconia as well, as he's gone up to 2nd place. Riccardo Benzoni's only got a few corners to go left on his lap, but Angelo D'Ortenzio, who we were talking about for very much being right up there, goes right up there to the top of the timesheets early doors, a 1:24.911 to kick things off. That is a good lap time, going to be very difficult to beat. Only 3 drivers left to cross the line. Now make that 2. Jan Halliday and Pasquale Renielli. Renielli only manages 11th. What can Jan Halliday do? Round the final bend, up to the line, and slots into 19th. First run's done, only about 5/10 separating the field. It is looking good if you are a Scuderia Ferrari fan or an Alpine fan, because Angelo D'Ortenzio is right out in front.
Looking good at the moment, and there is a reason why we were hyping him up so much when it comes to qualifying. When it has come to the races, though, he finds himself 3rd in the championship, tied on points with Liam Stevens, who is in 2nd, but Angelo D'Ortenzio, of course, moving from the Mercedes car to Ferrari due to his development affiliation that he has. That came in at Imola, and then it was a perfect way to start that partnership here in PSGL as well with that car, with getting himself a pole position at Imola as well, of all places. So quite special there for Angelo D'Ortenzio, and I'm sure his development team. You've got Riccardo Benzoni in 3rd at the moment, as you mentioned. Tony Hietala doing quite well as well. But for D'Ortenzio, well, he's only been able to get and convert one of those victories. That was in Jeddah. The other times he's not been on the podium, so he'll want to change that and add this round to one of those collection of trophies for him to basically be able to definitely think about this one for a long time to come, because when it's come to qualifying, that has been a question mark and answered, but the races have proven a little bit more difficult as well for him.
Yes, and I mean, yeah, it really is looking like this is going to be a good qualifying session. Silverstone, one of these circuits as well, you can overtake at. You've got plenty of places to overtake. You've obviously got 2 DRS zones to aid you with overtaking. Omi, though, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who is one of the first drivers to go side by side in Copse Corner in the race, do we think?
Well, it really could be anyone. I think Leo Lund could definitely find some momentum and try a move into Copse Corner. Always a driver eager to go for it, having to, of course, having to think about the championship and the 12-point advantage he has. But yeah, he could be a driver to watch into Copse Corner if an opportunity does come his way. But I think that goes for a lot of drivers. There will be lots who will be attempting some overtakes down into Copse. Whether it ends well, that's another story, and I'm sure we'll get that answer across our 26-lap race.
Indeed, yeah, and well, with 10 minutes on the clock of this qualifying session, that race is probably only about 20 minutes away, and I wonder how much these drivers are already, looking at just that banker lap time and thinking about if their race is going to be challenging or not. Yes, you can overtake at times here, but it's not the easiest place, especially with some of the longer trains you can get on the game. I haven't played much 25, but I do know bits. And these drivers, if you're Jan Halliday at the moment, or Quintino all the way down, right towards the bottom end of the field, and are you already going to be thinking about, this race could be challenging, or do you think these drivers have still got that head, really nailed in for this qualifying session.
Yeah, all focus I think will be on this qualifying session. So many aspects of the circuit you get right. You don't get a lot in terms of elevation change, but who needs it when you've got such a great circuit that already has plenty of challenges? And at this level where you're trying to gain every single thousandth of a second, and that can gain you a few positions, it is very important getting a lap time right around this place. And then in the race, it will be fascinating to see how the overtaking is, how easy it is, or possibly tricky as well. Imola, one of those races where we had some major lull periods, and it meant that we had some great wheel-to-wheel when we got it, but we also had quite a few moments of brinkmanship where drivers had to go for moves where possibly on last year's game they would have just settled in behind, knowing that there's going to be another chance coming down a straight to make an overtake. But it was quite tricky come Imola. This is a circuit where you can overtake, but definitely can also be tricky at times, especially if you are stuck in the DRS trains in the mid-pack.
Indeed. Well, Ben Sabacogni is trying to make sure he is a little bit further forward. He's on a lap time at the moment, coming around those final couple of bends to finish up what has been a relatively uneventful second flying lap. He was improving from what we could see in the first couple of sectors up to the line now. What will it be? It's not an improvement as he crosses the line, though, so a bit disappointing, I think, for Ben Sabacogni. Might have been wanting a little bit more out of that lap time, but he'll have to settle for 5th as it stands. But those lap times, we are getting more of them coming in now as Jan Halliday's about to start his next flying lap. And, Sabacogni's teammate, Peter, I believe, I might have just absolutely butchered that, comes around the bend. He can't improve either. So a few drivers struggling to improve so far on these second flying runs, but definitely not all hope lost.
All hope is definitely not lost. The driver in 20th position, Kashontos, is finding an improvement. You've got Benzoni in 4th position. Liam Stevens also just made his way over the line a few moments ago. Leo Lund, championship leader, about to also begin an attacking lap around this circuit. That was a good lap time coming in for Rapassa, so nice stuff there as he was able to find his way to the top. Luca Rapassa, the driver who won here around this circuit in PCF2, that was all the way in season 38, so he knows how to win around this circuit, and that will definitely be quite good for him come the race. But you need to qualify well. You need to give yourself a good opportunity, because we were mentioning how sometimes you can get stuck in those trains. If you do qualify too much further back, you are first of all in all of the chaos, and then you also leave yourself with a very hard exam question when it comes to trying to make your way up through the field. So that is a good qualifying, but there'll be plenty of drivers, Byron, responding to that lap time.
Indeed, yeah, plenty of drivers to respond. Jan Halliday next to respond. He goes 3rd fastest, so a very good lap time from Jan Halliday. He'll certainly be quite happy with that. Pasquale Renielli now across the line. He slots into 10th place, and then the Williams behind. I believe that was not an improvement there from Nelson Alves. So yeah, we're really seeing now some lap times starting to come in, improvements starting to come in. Jan Halliday, one of the huge improvers there as well, but we know he's got pace and talent galore, so he is looking good now. Much more in a place he'd want to be in this session as Leo Lund comes around the bend. He wasn't improving in both of the first 2 sectors, not improving in the 3rd either, so he is not where he would want to be, especially as the championship leader. He is sitting in 12th, not in a great place for the moment, but there's plenty of time for all of that to change between now and the checkered flag on this session. But pretty much that is the second run's done and dusted, and Angelo De Ortenzio, just to add insult to injury, goes and raises the bar even higher, now into the 1 minute 24 sevenths.
Honestly, what is there to stop him at the moment? On his way to 4 in a row. That is remarkable stuff. Only provisionally, and if this is the first time you are joining us here in PSGL, then it is great to have your company, and we award a point when it comes to pole position. No fastest lap point for the race, so the only way to gain extra points is in this qualifying session if you can get yourself to the fastest time, which is going to be a hard ask for everyone else in this field at the moment, considering De Ortenzio has raised the benchmark, and you can expect him to probably come back out there and try and go even quicker. So it'll be fascinating to see how that's going to play out. Benzoni and Diortensio, both contenders when it came to the races, but it was the strategy. And what was a wet race at Imola, it was the strategy that let them down. And Diortensio lost track position to Leo Lund. Benzoni lost quite a few positions as well, and it was a great result coming in for Ranieri that day, as he found himself able to capitalise, and basically with 2 podiums in a row for the Italian driver, he shooted his way all the way up to 5th in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, this is the sort of things that can happen if you have an off weekend, you know, either in the good or bad sense. You know, one good or bad result can completely flip everything on its head, and we really have seen that. And for Leo Lund, this could be that bad result that could reel everyone back in, you know, a little bit. So it could even be a case that this final run needs to be flawless, otherwise it is going to be damage limitation for the championship leader. And, you know, we say championship leader 4 rounds in, but when you've got a 12-point lead, you know, you are pretty convincingly in front. But, you know, as we said, you know, when we were talking prior to even going live, you know, it just takes that one poor result, and all of a sudden that lead has diminished, and we're really seeing a bit of pressure on the leader.
Yeah, and the most important thing is he's been given an opportunity. When it comes to his rivals, they didn't have the round they would have wanted at Imola, and it's given him a gap when we've been coming into races this season with 2 points, absolutely nothing tied on points separating the drivers, and it is still tied on points when it comes to 2nd and 3rd. When you've been given an opportunity, that could be the difference between 3rd place and also the championship when it comes down to our final race of the season, which is going to be fast approaching. We've still, of course, got a long way to go, but they all come thick and fast, and we'll be soon rounding out our campaign in Mexico. That will be round 12. But it's trying to capitalise and trying to do the best job you can every single round. And this 12-point advantage he's got, the extra points that he's got, and the little advantage that he was able to get at Imola could be the difference by the time we conclude our season.
Yeah, I mean, so much, you know, can change between now and, as you say, he's still got, you know, this is round 5 of 12. There's still a lot of rounds to go, a lot of points to be had, a lot of drama, I'm sure, to be had as well, between now and the end of the season. But it is really interesting to see the trend of how people perform, you know, early days versus towards the end of a season, because you can see a huge amount of change in performance. And Ben Sabacogni is the first driver to begin these final flying laps, and well, he sits 9th at the moment. He would dearly love an improvement to get a little bit higher up, as I'm sure would every driver on this grid, but only one person can take pole here, but taking it nice and easy through here now, this double left-hander and onto this DRS straight. You see the rear end typically can slide out a little bit if they're a little bit too aggressive on the throttle, but pinpoint perfect for Ben Sabacogni now as we head down again and in towards this very tricky sequence of corners. The tyres screaming out. You see a little snap on the rear end there, and now we head down that old pitch straight, head on towards Copse Corner, and well, it is shaping up to be a decent lap so far, but is it shaping up to be an improvement? Because that is what every driver on the grid is going to be searching for here, digging deep to find every bit of pace and performance that is left on the table. Ben Sabacogni now coming up to that Sector 2 timing line. The DRS will swing wide open for one final time in his qualifying session, improving by nearly a tenth of a second. That could take him as high as 2nd as things stand. But one final sector in it, what can he muster? And well, there's plenty more to come after him. He's got 19 other drivers still yet to cross the line, but he will be the first to finish his flying lap. Where will he go? Crosses the line, goes up to 3rd, but his teammate could be about to go that little bit faster, improves, but not enough to challenge Angelo.
Yep, that is second and third for Alpine at the moment. Is there any other contenders looking to try and improve? Imtiaz is the driver in 11th position. Their improving is going to be Hietala to the second row at the moment. That's P3. He's got himself ahead of Ben Sabakoni. Jan Halliday's improving in the first sector as well. Rapasa is in the third sector. He's finding an improvement as he tries to get himself higher up the order. He's just been beaten by Lukumski, who now is in fourth. Make that fifth because Rapasa improves to the front row and is only 800 off the pace, but going even quicker still. Angelo Di Ortenzio is finding the improvement with the first sector. He may not need to improve, but he is still trying to push on. He's lost some time now, so there was a little error for Di Ortenzio, but it might just be safe, it might just be okay. Here's Jan Halliday pushing on. Let's see whether he can improve. Looking nice through the second sector. When he comes across the line, it's good enough for second, and he's only 18 thousandths off the pace.
Indeed, and it looks like Angelo Di Ortenzio is not going to improve, but he didn't need an improvement here. But Leo Lund, championship leader, 17th at the moment, crosses the line. What can he do? Manages 7th. That is damage limitation at its finest. When he needed a lap most, he delivered, going all the way from, I think it was 17th to 7th. That is not a bad improvement at all, right at the death of the session. But Angelo Di Ortenzio, what a lap. Jan Halliday as well, getting really in there right at the end. Luca Rapasa as well. That top three, they were, well, really sensational. Jan Halliday struggled a bit towards the start of the session, but really found the eye in towards the end. But Leo Lund as well with a really good lap right at the end. But 4 poles in a row for Angelo Di Ortenzio, as Yona points out, and we discussed earlier as well. That is a really, really strong qualifier right there.
Yeah, it's only been round 1 where he was beaten by Tony Hietala in qualifying, but there's a reason why. When it came to qualifying, we asked who would be able to beat Angelo, and it's Angelo who delivers, and no one can beat him. It's Halliday, then Rapasa, Stouchilek, Hietala, Lukumski, Lund, Ben Sabakoni, and then Benzoni, Jacobs, Alves, Tulki, Stevens, Dowd, Ranielli, Bohm, Imtiaz, and then Quintino, Fanzelta, and Kashontos, your 20 drivers when it comes to... But yeah, 4 in a row is just something you do not see. You just do not see in a very competitive field like this. So when he's able to deliver it, it's just remarkable. But now is the question, can he convert it? He's only been able to convert it once from pole. He's only been on the podium once so far this season. Qualifying, that is checked. But what can he do in the race?
Indeed, yeah, the race is going to be all the more important. Just remind me, Omi, do we have a lobby restart?
Well, there should not be a lobby restart unless there was any grid penalties, but it doesn't look like we will be.
See, this is why it's good to have someone to check, because honestly, I kid you not, it has been that long that the last time I actually properly did a live stream, we had the days of lobby restarts because it was F1 24.
Yeah, it's been fun to not have that.
I can absolutely imagine. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal stuff for Angelo Di Ortenzio. We are... well, moments away, it turns out. I went over to the camera screen as well, preempting a lobby restart that then didn't happen because we don't need it anymore. But yeah, we are moments away from round number 5. Is here, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Silverstone. It's sunny Silverstone, and it is all good and foot to the floor as we go racing here in Silverstone for round number 5. And Angelo Di Ortenzio off the line well. Jan Halliday and Luca Rapasa going side by side here as we head towards turn number 3. Luca Rapasa having the outside line, which turns to the inside for this double apex left-hander. Could force Jan Halliday off the road, but he doesn't force Jan Halliday off the road, but Luca Rapasa now slots into that second place. Jan Halliday, though, wanting to come back at the V-carb and trying to go around the outside. Surely not enough space in the front wing. There is a little love tap on the rear from Peter.
Absolutely, Angelo Di Ortenzio with the start that he would have wanted, but now it is going to be the attack towards Cobb's corner. We mentioned who would be the first drivers to go wheel to wheel. Jan Halliday using a bit of battery, but it will not be the case. They will make their way through in single file at the moment, but that will be all out of shape. Momentarily, Lund's going to be under pressure, but Ben Sabakoni thinking about it, but you're not going to do that into Maggots and Beckett's when you've still got so many laps remaining. We're only on the first lap as we make our way through on the hangar straight to try to see who can make an overtake. It can be quite important if you are able to fight your way through at this phase of the race for track position, but it looks like no moves at the moment in the higher end of the field.
Indeed, yeah, definitely. Interesting start to the race for a few drivers. Noticing Liam Stevens has had an absolute howler to start his race, unfortunately. So that is not ideal for him and his chances in this race. So yeah, really seeming to struggle there. For some reason, my stream's buffering. I'm not sure if that's a stream issue or if that's a... Not sure what kind of issue that is. I'm hoping everything's okay. I think it is okay. I think my PC is just being a little bit weird. And my tyre graphic's not working. That's nice. But lap 2 of 26 here. Difficult start for Liam Stevens and also for both of the Mercedes cars as well. But a good start for Luca Rapasso and Angelo De Ortenzio, of course, who is out in front and can kind of command the race out in front for the time being. But I'm sure it won't be long until Luca Rapasso is thinking about a move.
Lots of strategic games to be played at the moment for everyone in the field, but this is our second lap out of 26 here at Silverstone Circuit in what is sunny Silverstone, unlike many occasions that we've come here in PCF2. And right now we are heading down into Stowe Corner. Cameron Dowd's getting close, just assessing things at the moment on the back of Riccardo Benzoni. So those two having a little battle at the moment, but you're currently assessing whether your rival is strong, whether your rivals are weak. Dowd's moving up 3 places, and the biggest gainer of the start, Gavakashon, just up 7. That is an incredible start. That's an incredible start to bolt his way forward and give himself a realistic opportunity from this point onwards of getting some decent points today.
Indeed, yeah. I'm noticing Leo Lund really close at the moment on the back on Simon Lukomski. So he could certainly be trying to make a move in a couple of moments' time. I'm hoping to see Leo Lund attempting to make a move. But Jan Halliday as well is another driver who is close and is getting quite close to the back of Luca Rapasso. So Luca Rapasso may have to do more thinking about what's going on behind as opposed to in front, because he is looking like he's under a bit of pressure, but so is Leo Lund from Brent Sabaconi. So it seems like a lot of drivers are trying to attack each other, but then not quite having enough speed and falling back to the driver behind. So it is a little bit of a struggle for everyone at the minute, but I'm sure it will all pan out in the end. But as we head down the hangar straight, no moves on this particular occasion, but it is likely to be just a waiting game. But someone's going to pull the pin, and it's eventually going to go, well, a little bit crazy.
Everyone elects to start on the medium compact tyres. There's been a couple of occasions where we have seen a split, but no, everyone on the mediums. Yellow Wall Compact Plus to start this Grand Prix. A good run there for Lukomski, having to force a defensive shape from Tony Hietala, and that is brave momentum there for Lukomski, who's been able to get to the inside line, and when he stands on the power, is he going to be ahead? It looks like he will, and the McLaren driver moving up to 5th place. Hietala will get the right to reply. Will he have the battery to try and fight back? It looks like Lukomski is going to have that position, and Lukomski really trying his absolute best to turn his season around. It has not been exactly what he would have wanted. He currently finds himself 21st in the championship as a full-time driver. So Lukomski trying to get some momentum going, and he's going to give himself a good opportunity of doing that because he has done well around this circuit. He was our winner here in season 35.
Indeed, yeah, right. And he is looking quite strong at the moment, and as you say, a circuit he's quite strong at, so clearly, you know, it is going to be an interesting race for him. He's looking strong, not looking good in the championship, but this sort of result can certainly help build a little bit of momentum if you are Simon Lukomski. But you definitely. He's going to be feeling a bit of pressure from Tony Huetler. He was close to responding immediately and trying to make a re-overtake, but hasn't been able to really muster much for the moment. But as we're seeing, everyone very close to one another, but it's just a little bit of a waiting game, a little bit of DRS training as Gabor and Race go side-by-side battle, and I believe it was Race who went off the track ever so briefly, but both of them squabbling very hard and just about to get out of DRS range of Nelson Alves, which, if that happens, that could cause a bit of a rift in this race.
Definitely could. Leo Lund now on the back of Fiatala, who's already lost a position. Become 2 in a few moments' time. Leo Lund just thinking about things at the moment. Driver who's definitely been going for it. When it has come to PSGL, he's off the road on the exit of COP, so he's definitely in this position where he's trying to assess his options in terms of what way is he going to be able to get another consistent result like he's managed across the opening 4 rounds. But he's a driver who has been involved in a little bit of drama and a few incidents across this season, so he'll definitely try and iron those out to focus on the job at hand. But that's the important thing. He's going to have to assess where is the opportunity to try overtake and where possibly you could see the moment where you lose your front wing. So you have to be careful. Further behind Leo Lund, that is Rishan Cheekin on the inside line, and he's now ahead of Ben Sabakoni and Cameron Dowd, the next driver to try and attack the driver in 9th.
Indeed, yeah, Vince Sabakoni is under a lot of pressure here, but Cameron Dowds as well could find himself under quite a bit of pressure here as there's a 3-driver squabble, and down the inside Cameron Dowds is trying on Ben Sabakoni, a bit of a whack on the front wing, but side by side and down the straight, so close, and head to head really into the next braking zone. But Ben Sabakoni, he can't respond there. Thought about trying to go back around the outside or try and cut to the inside as well, but nothing worth doing on that occasion. Cameron Dowds up to 9th, and the man who I remember all too well commentating on all the way in on PSF1 only a couple of seasons ago is finding his feet and finding a bit of form in this race as he gets himself up into 9th place. And well, if his pace continues the way it is, he could find himself trying to pressure Rishan Jacobs in front.
Yeah, Cameron Dowds, who was on PC, moved away from it, went over to PlayStation, has joined us back. And the F3 season that he was in last season, he found himself as a contender. And even though he'd only done the second half of the season, so he missed half the races, he came in the second half and nearly won the entire thing. But that was the title that went to Nur Presakan in season 39, and he found himself getting close. But myself just found it absolutely remarkable how he got in that tier. He'd only done half the races and he was a title contender come our season finale in Abu Dhabi. So he's now in F2, now back fighting where he used to be, and he's once again proving to be quite the contender when it comes to these races. We'll definitely want a little bit more though when it comes to race results to move higher in the points battle, but it has been a good job so far from the Scottish driver. He'll just look now try and assess what he can do better round from round.
Indeed, yeah, and he is well, definitely having a strong race so far, but he's going to hopefully be building on it and make a few more places in this race if he can. But you know, every point, you know, is important. So you know, just a few points because you're in 9th is better than none at all. So I'm sure he will be happy even if that is all he comes home with. A small mistake there from the Alpine in 4th, and well, doesn't invite Simon Lukomski into the fold, but definitely an important move. And we actually see the Alpine into the pit lane at the end of lap 7 for a change of tyres. Ironically, someone I saw in the stream mentioned, would anyone come into the pits on the end of lap 7? Well, here's your answer. 3 drivers in for a change of tyres so early in the race though.
Yeah, so early in the race indeed. quite fascinating stuff as Stauchulek comes in, not the only one. You've got Alves and Turkey as well coming in for that set of the hard compound of tyres, and it's been quite interesting so far this contest. Now let's see how the second phase is going to go. The races can usually come alive in this pit stop phase, so let's see what's going to happen.
Yes, indeed. Plenty still to occur in this race as well, and this is something that's interesting. A gap has opened up between third and fourth, so now the McLaren in fourth is not got any DRS, and this is where we begin to see those trains begin to open up. And you get a few almost different packs, and well, you can already see just on this lap, Simon Lukomsky has gone from 1.1 back at the start of the lap to about 1.6, so you're looking about 5 to 6, even 7 tenths of a second difference between having DRS and not having DRS. But lap A, your race leader Angelo De Ortenzio and Luca Rapassa both into the pit lane. Jan Halliday will stay out for at least another lap, but a lot of drivers into the pits on lap 8 going on to lap 9, but Jan Halliday staying in this race, staying out in front and taking the fastest lap with him.
Absolutely, as the hard tyres go on for the drivers in the pit lane, and then they find themselves rejoining the road in a few moments' time, getting ready to continue their push around Silverstone Circuit. Angelo De Ortenzio, well, this is the phase of the race where it fell away from him when it came to the race that we had at Imola. But this time around, he's going to hope for everything to go his way all the way till the end. Now, this is momentum for Stauchulek. He's got his tyres warmed up and he's forcing Rapassa to go off the racing line as he tries to defend the position. Now, there could be an opportunity now for the Alpine driver. He'll know this is a big opportunity if he wants to try and gain from having his tyres warmed up. He'll send it around the outside. Will there be the grip there? It'll be just ahead for the moment from Rapassa. Is there any moment Stauchulek can find in this second and then the third sector to try and find the overtake? He'll be closing in and trying to see whether there is going to be the chance. Lap 9 out of 26.
Indeed, yes, and well, Stauchulek, as you were saying, really wanted to get the move done on Luca Rapassa, try and get into what is 12th place on the road, but would provisionally be second place. You see Luca Rapassa getting a bit of a slide on out of the exit of Maggots, Beckett's and then Chapel, and well, that little slide is probably just due to the tyres not being up to temperature, putting the foot to the floor just maybe a little bit too hard at this early stage. He hasn't got those tyres in the peak operating window just yet, has Luca Rapassa, but Angelo De Ortenzio obviously coming in a lap earlier than those in front should comfortably keep all of the places. But look at Jan Halliday, even though he pitted a lap later, he is still looking absolutely smoking hot in this race. And well, Luca Rapassa will have that green Aston Martin for company, as will Stauchulek, as well, as both of them seem to find that Aston Martin of Jan Halliday did not lose as much time pitting a lap later than I think they may have thought.
Yeah, that's the strategic game that we were talking about. It's all played out in different ways, but Angelo De Ortenzio, he'll be relieved that, unlike a week ago, it has gone to plan and he's still got the advantage because he knows how to control it. Let's see what's going to happen as we go into Cox Corner, because Stauchulek, well, he is absolutely pushing right now. Halliday at the moment, then he'll give himself a good opportunity if he can use the battery down the Hanger straight, and Stauchulek will be assessing things at the moment. The driver went early when it came to the pit stop phase. Now looking to try and see whether there's a chance to capitalise. You have the top four going round once again. Ranieri also going round as well. So it's going to be the top four continuing on. Our net race leader Angelo De Ortenzio, and then he's still got Rapassa for company, but at a gap that is 0.7 of a second.
Indeed, yeah, Luca Rapassa in second place provisionally, obviously once everyone has pitted in this race, but he is finding he's a little bit adrift of Angelo De Ortenzio, so he has got to try and reel in a few tenths of a second, maybe just get that little bit closer if he can, because that gap's now at 8/10 of a second, and you don't want that gap to get too much bigger, because obviously you don't want to be, well, losing slipstream for one, but also losing that all-important DRS, because as we saw when it came to Lukomsky, who, by the way, huge shout-out, at one point he was 1.5, 2 seconds adrift of the cars in front. He has had a couple very good laps and a very good pit window, and, well, has planned out exactly where he was before everything kicked off. But, you know, he is looking quite handy in this race, and everyone still pretty much separated by a piece of paper.
Moment, yeah, as Di Ortenzio looks to try and break clear. If he can break clear outside the 1 second, then absolutely that will be the victory heading his way, unless there is any other late drama to come. Passer just keeping him honest at the moment, but we're in that phase of the race where if Passer is able to find the moment for an overtake, it'll be vital. Not like the previous game last year where you would see constant switches between them all. Now it is so important if we are able to see a move at all for the lead come a moment after the pit stop phase. But right now at the moment it's a gap that is running at a distance where Angelo Di Ortenzio coming under no pressure. Meanwhile, Ben Sabaconi directly behind our championship leader coming into this round, Leo Lund, having definitely one of the harder races to what he's found across so far this season, as Alves and Jacob, the Williams teammates, switch positions, and Jacob just momentarily puts the nose on the inside, but decides to think better of it, and is in 11th place.
Indeed. I'm finding Liam Stevens' strategy quite interesting. 11 laps on a set of medium tyres so far. What do you think Liam Stevens' game is here? Do you think he's just building a bit of tyre offset so you can push a bit harder on the hard compound tyres? Or is he going to be trying something completely different and unorthodox and possibly a medium soft?
No, who knows? Liam Stevens, well, I mean, when he's in this phase of the race, he knows he has to just go a little bit different and try something else. So we'll see what he decides to come up with. I'm sure it'll be very interesting when we do get to the answer, but he's continuing on for the moment is Liam Stevens, the British driver, in second place in the standings. So it definitely is one that could completely backfire and could lose him quite a bit of momentum, and a harder task when it comes to the final phase of this championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely looking like this race is going to be one that will influence the championship. Leo Lund is struggling here, now battling with Tony Huetelaar and really fighting over 7th and 8th place here, which is not where Leo Lund, I think, wants to be fighting. You know, it probably feels a bit like he's almost fighting for a wooden spoon in a sense. You know, he is fighting for a championship, which, as we said, each point matters, but he's not fighting for the big points that I think he wants to be fighting for today. But he's got to take it as it comes, because there's a strong chance that, you know, one incident or something later on in this race could flip it on, you know, and change the entire race and provide a good opportunity for him to move up. But he's got to be careful. Ben Sabaconi is definitely putting on a bit of pressure here on Leo Lund. That gap hovering about 1.5 tenths, and that is one Alpine who is following very, very closely.
Is at the moment the Alpine drivers who have been contenders at times, and they've had quite the opposite to some degree as well when it's come to other qualifying session and rounds at the same time. So it's been quite the big season for the pair down at Alpine at the moment, as they fight their way through. And the day just getting closer and closer to the passer. You can try catch your rival out with the battery and find a moment to try and get by can be very, very vital. Leo Lund continuing to follow closely as well, so the drivers will be basically going now for any opportunity, because they will all be understanding the situation we've got there. It is quite difficult, I think it is fair to say, to make an overtake, and then it can lead to some late movements in terms of drivers trying some different lines, trying anything that may go their way. And of course, we'll be heading over to Budapest next time out for round 6. Then it will be Bahrain in round 7. We will be going then to Texas in round 8, Suzuka in round 9, and then Vegas in round 10. Brazil will be our penultimate round, and then we end our journey around Mexico City. And we'll actually get ready and prepare for next season as well, season 41. Into the pit lane at the front of the field has come Liam Stevens.
Yes, I mean, Liam Stevens finally into that pit lane, finally going to change off of those medium tyres onto a set of hards, but he's got tyres that are pretty much 5 laps fresher than everybody else's, so that will hopefully benefit him. But Rashan Jacobs could be about to make a move on his teammate Nelson Alves. Are they just going to swap places nicely? Chances are the answer to that is no. And down the inside goes Rashan Jacobs on Nelson Alves. They try it side by side, but can't quite make it stick, can Rashan Jacobs? So he will have to hold it for the time being. Will he think about a move down the inside? Oh, it's nearly a very late reaction, I think, from Nelson Alves, but he'll find himself getting swamped here by the Haas as Rashan Jacobs makes the move up into 9th, but not the most orthodox of moves, as both drivers steered in the same direction at the same time, and that could have been a nasty crash, but thankfully avoided by both of them.
Yeah, could have been big trouble there for Williams at the moment, and Alves now having to look in his mirrors. You've got Larry Torquay, who was a contender for the F3 title a few seasons ago. Was Larry Torquay's intentions right now are to move up to 10th. Alves struggling with the battery. The Haas driver has a look. It's only a look at the moment, but he'll try to set this one up to see whether he can continue remaining in this close proximity, and then when we go on to the next lap, could give himself a chance to come down the Wellington way, but it's all about being close and also having the battery advantage, which it appears that Larry Torquay does as he tries to get himself into the points paying positions further back. Benzoni, it's been another race that has faded away from him by the looks of things, as he's on the back of Ray's Imtiaz. Imtiaz, the driver, running in 12th. Benzoni trying to get a good exit. He tries to put some pressure. Imtiaz struggling when he's down for the power. It would be a good opportunity for the driver currently in 13th position. Imtiaz knows that he has to place the car on the inside line. Benzoni will have to go the long way round. It'll be brave stuff there. Meanwhile, Liam Stevens has made an overtake. He's got past Ranieri, so that's the Aston Martin driver into 16. But still, Benzoni will have to look in the rear of the Sauber as Imtiaz stays ahead. What about into Copse Corner?
Indeed, Riccardo Benzoni, wow, nearly thinking about going side by side into Copse. Fortunately, a sensible decision not to. Conrad Bohm in the background, you see, running hugely wide here. But Riccardo Benzoni, with 3 laps fresher tyres than race in front, is really struggling here to make moves, and these are imperative moves for his race. If Riccardo Benzoni can get past race, it could even open up a couple of places in front. We've seen the 2 Williams, Nelson Alves and Rashan Jacobs, battling quite hard, so that could lend a few places as well. So all it takes is a little bit of rub of the green, and it could really go Riccardo Benzoni's way. He could find himself in the points. So we can't count the Ferrari man out of the race yet, but definitely at the moment not a race to remember. But he has got slightly fresher tyres. He has got a bit of an advantage there. It's just as to whether there's still much life left in them. Liam Stevens now ahead of Conrad Bohm. But that is a man who you'd be expecting to make plenty of moves between now and the checkered flag, because he has got convincingly fresher tyres. Riccardo Benzoni, though, once again, trying it.
Absolutely. Here is Conrad Bowman. Liam Stevens going for it. Stevens momentarily got ahead. Had to look in his mirrors. Conrad Bowman there trying to fight back. Looks like he's just going to have to settle in behind for the moment. Will the McLaren man, as we head into Copse Corner with those contenders. It's still 0.5 of a second, and the authentic run to the checkered flag into the win that he will hope. Mufasa chasing his first win of this season. And Jan Halliday, of course, also looking to try and be a contender. He was on the podium last time out. He finished third. He's on his way to another P3. He'll want higher than that, will Jan Halliday. One of our two champions of PCF2 coming into this season. Him alongside Rapassa, their second and third. We mentioned overtakes further back. Now that is Ranieri getting past Bohm, who was looking to fight up against Stevens, but instead drops the place, and up goes Ranieri.
Indeed, yeah, Ranieri up to 16th. Not a, again, another driver, not a race to remember. I suppose you could say that for anyone who's not in the points, really. Liam Stevens, though, down the inside on Gabor here and up into 14th place now, only one car behind Riccardo Benzoni, who, and we're looking at this field. Liam Stevens is really being able to use all of this grip. He's had great pace as well, and, he's being able to use the great pace that he's got from these hard compound tyres. He's got tyres that are 6 laps newer than quite a few drivers on the grid. Getting past Riccardo Benzoni might be a bit more of a challenge, though, because that car in front only 3 laps older, the tyres on the Ferrari. But Liam Stevens is having a good race so far, making some good moves, keeping us on our toes, and, well, one of the Alpines could be about to overtake Jan Halliday.
Definitely be about to as well. There's an opportunity for Stouchelek. To the outside line he'll go. Halliday will defend for the moment, is able to just place the car perfectly. Stouchelek left sliding around as he tried to stand on the power, but he'll be desperate to try and move up into this podium position. Halliday has it for the moment, but yeah, looking quite nice at the moment for Liam Stevens, who may have a penalty to his name, but I think that came in the early stages, so I would not be surprised if there is any steward change when it comes to that, as Stouchelek has once again a bit of a look, has a bit of a dart looming large in the mirrors. Halliday places the car in the middle of the road, and then it's all about trying to get the traction down and see whether you've got the battery to go on the attack of the driver that is in third position. It looks like there is quite a bit of battery for Stouchelek, playing this race quite nicely, so if he does get an opportunity, he will definitely go for it, and that could be an important switch for the final spot on the podium.
Riccardo Benzoni and Race going side by side here, battling really hard over these couple of places, but look at the way Liam Stevens has carved his way past both Riccardo Benzoni and Race as well. Liam Stevens with fresher tyres, and you see there Race going wide. That's going to surely invite Riccardo Benzoni. Riccardo Benzoni was really feeling the pressure, I think, from Liam Stevens behind, and as a result he was trying to make a move on Race ahead, the Kicks Alba, but it just didn't come to much avail, I think. But Liam Stevens up into 12th now, and already trying to get onto the back of Larry in 11th, and is definitely making some good moves on that set of hard compound tyres that are so much younger than a majority of the field. He's being able to make good use of them, and a different strategy, sure, but it is certainly working.
It is indeed. He was looking at another one. Was Liam Stevens getting another one? Is Liam Stevens, that's now 11th position for the driver, who is roaring past them all. Next up is the points paying places. Next up is the Williams, who have been getting quite feisty with each other. And now it will be interesting to see what Liam Stevens is going to be able to do as they fight their way by as well. It is 0.4 of a second between our top two. Ranieri thinking about it up against Cameron Dowd, who is in 16th, so not having the race that he would have wanted by his standards, so he's having to go defensive up against Ranieri, and after his positive result, Ranieri will also not be liking the sight of 17th, and will definitely look to try and turn that around come Budapest in a week's time.
Indeed, yeah, and Liam Stevens is once again looking quite mean in that green machine. Maybe not quite as green as the Kicks Alba that he overtook a few moments ago, but he is certainly making plenty of moves in this race. And we've got to remember that penalty did come on lap 1. So depending on what kind of penalty it is, it could be a penalty that's removable, and if so, he is on for what could be a great point scoring result, and he is really on the back of Nelson Alves here as we head through turn 1, turn 2, and in towards turn 3, the first braking zone of the lap, and already going down the inside, but you'll see the switchback done by Nelson Alves. They'll now go side by side through the double apex left-hander, but it's nicely done for Liam Stevens, who maybe could have lost the place, but he kept his foot in the door, and well, respecting and very good racing from the pair of them. Liam Stevens up to 10th. If that penalty is removable, that is going to be one very happy man come the checkered flag, because he's got plenty more laps, well, 5 more laps to use those tyres, and that could mean a couple more places.
Could indeed, and that's the grip that Stevens has. He may have went out wide, but then was immediately able to come back down the inside and fight his way through and out of the race. Gabriel Santos further back, and the safety car's out. Well, it was a race which we were looking at a possible situation of Angelo Di Ortenzio controlling things all the way till the end, but the safety car is going to make its appearance for the first time this season, and Gabriel Santos, the Haas driver, out.
Yes, not ideal at all. Everyone should peel into the pits here, surely, for a set of soft compound tyres, which means we'll have a sprint race to the end here. Angelo Di Ortenzio into the pit lane, Luca Rapassa, Jan Halliday, pretty much everyone. But Luca Rapassa, 10-second penalty for a severe collision with Angelo Di Ortenzio. I expect that to be removed because there was absolutely nothing in that. But look at everyone. Benz Savacogni, as well as Liam Stevens and Nelson Alves, have elected not to pit. I understand Liam Stevens not pitting maybe, but there's plenty of drivers there who I think may later regret that decision. Cameron Dowds, Riccardo Benzoni, Nelson Alves, Liam Stevens and Ben Savacogni all deciding not to pit. I mean, I'm not sure that's going to be the right move come the checkered flag. Fresh tyres is easily probably going to trump them.
It's quite the mix. You've got drivers, you've got Sabchalik on a hard, you've got lots on the mediums, you've got lots on the soft, and then you've got lots just sticking it out there on their hard compound tyre. This one is going to be more dramatic than we thought. Rapassa has been able to jump, so that's an important thing. Net race leadership in terms of drivers who came into the pit lane belongs to Rapassa, who has jumped Angelo Di Ortenzio. We expect that penalty to be removed. Rapassa was just getting very close to the back of Di Ortenzio, but nothing much, so that could be a penalty that does get removed possibly. But keep an eye on all of those drivers, especially Di Ortenzio. He'll get the chance on the softs to really go for it. It's going to be a very fascinating restart to this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, as you say, fascinating end to the race. I surely feel that Luca Rapassa should not have gained this place on Angelo Di Ortenzio. I feel like that's maybe as a result of the alleged severe collision that happened. I feel like he should give the place back, but I suppose he'll blame it on the game and roll with it. But definitely going to be an interesting restart. Many drivers opting for soft compound tyres, but plenty also going for a set of medium. Only one driver opting for fresh hards. You've got to feel like that might have been a mistake from Stachulek there, who might have just had it auto-selected from his first pit stop. But definitely going to be an interesting race to the end to this race. You have to say Liam Stevens is in a good place. He does have hard compound tyres, which aren't going to provide him the most grip, but they are slightly newer than a lot of the other drivers who are on ailing hard tyres. He's also got a buffer of 3 cars behind on older hard compound tyres. That's going to provide him a bit of a breathing room window, but by no stretch of the imagination is this going to be an easy end to the race for all of those who are on those aging hard compound tyres. I wonder though if they expected so many people to pit.
Yeah, it will be fascinating. It will be fascinating because we're going to get a bit, basically as you described, a sprint all the way right till the checkered flag, and it's all going to be bunched up. The drivers will be battling amongst each other while trying to progress forward. This could get quite wild come these final stages. The only time we've had a battle for the win on the last lap in terms of actual wheel-to-wheel was in Spa. as well. That was quite a dramatic race, the ending of that one, and that was the day where Liam Stevens picked up a penalty as he was contending for it, and he will hope there is no penalty coming his way at all for what's about to happen in these final laps when it comes to this contest, and that is going to be the case for every single driver in this field, because remember, now you've got the entire field also bunched up, so there's a big opportunity that we could possibly be seeing some of those switches where we could see drivers lose more positions rather than what they would usually do as well. Okay, safety cars coming in, we're about to get this contest back underway.
Indeed, and it's a contest to see who will win. Only going to have 3 racing laps left of this race. Luca Rapassa with a penalty that can likely be removed by the stewards. We believe the same may be the case for Liam Stevens. He's got himself into a good opportunity where at points in this race he was towards the very back. He could be towards the very front, if not at the front. Come the checkered flag, only 3 laps to go, but as we come up to the line, we will go back to green flag running here for 3 more laps of action here. Liam Stevens will already be putting the pressure on to Ben Sabakonyi and already is eyeing up a possible move. Look at Nelson Alves already falling 6/10 behind, but Luca Rapassa already trying and wanting to make moves, but Riccardo Benzoni and Cameron Dowds are acting like a brick wall at the moment. But Luca Rapassa will be having absolutely none of it. Makes his way past Cameron Dowds, makes his way past Riccardo Benzoni. Riccardo Benzoni will try and fight it to the inside, but the grip isn't there for the Scuderia man, and he will have to settle for 5th, but it could be further down the order as we head onto Cops Corner, and you see plenty of drivers squabbling. Jan Halliday going side by side with Riccardo Benzoni, trying to get into 6th. He does get up into 6th place and gets himself ahead of one Ferrari. He might now try and set his sights on Angelo D'Ortenzio, but Liam Stevens needs to make a move here on Ben Sabakonyi and try and sail off into the sunset.
That'll be the aim for Liam Stevens, getting closer and closer to the win. He'll know that D'Ortenzio is coming and arriving on the scene as well. Further behind that, a switch in position. Alphonse Lekumsky, Dowds having to defend. Leo Lund has been able to get to the inside line. We expected some brave moves from him. He's trying to get his foot to the floor. It's going to be out wide, and it will be the position gain for Rishan Jacobs, who's going to move through. So that is Dowds dropping backwards. That's Lund dropping backwards, and Rishan Jacobs able to get 2 cars in the exact same way that Hamilton did. Tony Itala moving through as well up to 12th. Meanwhile, D'Ortenzio in 4th place now as he's trying to get his foot to the floor up against Alves.
Indeed, and Liam Stevens, he's not made the move on Ben Sabakonyi yet, and he's got pressure behind. Look at Luca Rapassa trying as well to get himself into the fold and into the contest for this race win. And you've got to say, either one of these drivers or even Angelo D'Ortenzio have a really good chance. But look at the way Luca Rapassa managed to clear Ben Sabakonyi so quickly. Liam Stevens had to take a couple of laps to do it, but Luca Rapassa did it in a few corners when he got up to the back of Ben Sabakonyi, and you'll see Angelo D'Ortenzio making the move there as well, and now Jan Halliday getting past that Alpine. It's a bit like a car going 50 in a 70-mile-an-hour road. It just hasn't got the pace at the moment. About 2.2 seconds slower than his best lap, Ben Sabakonyi, just through the second sector timing line alone. So you can just see how much they are struggling. Liam Stevens, though, is not in a half bad place right now. He's coming up to begin the final flying lap of action here. Luca Rapassa in second, wanting to take a win here, and could well take a win here, providing Angelo D'Ortenzio doesn't have the pace and Liam Stevens can't defend.
That is exactly the case at the moment. We're on the last lap here at Silverstone as we look to see who is going to take the win. We have a top 2 that could possibly see the penalties removed, but right now they're battling it out. on the circuit. It's neck and neck between the two of them, and the Racing Bulls driver moving ahead and just about keeping that position. But the more they scrap, they will be inviting Angelo Di Ortenzio, trying his best to close in. The Ferrari driver, who has been so good when it comes to qualifying. He's been on pole 4 times in a row. Now he's going to give himself an opportunity to try and get this race victory using the battery, getting closer and closer to Liam Stevens. Well, Angelo Di Ortenzio will get this one on the circuit, but still, it's going to be decided off the circuit in the steward's room in terms of what penalties will stand, what ones will be removed. It'll be Rapasa dropping down 10 seconds. It'll be Liam Stevens who will drop down 3. Rapasa's trying also to break clear, so it could be a battle for second place then. But Angelo Di Ortenzio on the circuit right now is going to be heading his way to the checkered flag moment. Halliday's trying to get close, trying to find the moment, and we are seeing a battle there as Lukumski gets ahead of Ben Sabaconi. Alves and Stauchilek are wheel to wheel as well, and it is going to be a great fight between those two drivers. But at the front of the field, first across the line at Silverstone will be Rapasa, who comes across the line to win. Penalty applied for him, and it's going to be a penalty applied for Stevens for the moment. So provisionally, Angelo Di Ortenzio will be called our race winner, and after taking 4 poles in a row, finally it's a second trip to the top step for him, and he is going to be celebrating that one, but we'll see what happens in the steward's room after this one.
Indeed, yeah, it's a mixed feeling, I'm sure, for him, because Angelo Di Ortenzio, he's fought absolutely valiantly and had a really great result, but if, you know, the penalties do get removed, it's going to be a bit of a sour feeling in his mouth, I'm sure, but I'm sure he will be taking all of the positives away from this. Once again, 4 poles in a row and a podium to suit as well. Nothing to scoff at. He is doing a mighty fine job at the moment, but definitely a lot of talking points out of this one as, well, let's have a look. Angelo Di Ortenzio provisionally the race winner after all the penalties applied, but Liam Stevens and oh my god, the name slipped my mind, but 2 drivers with penalties to be removed. Luca Rapasa, the other one, sorry. But Jan Halliday, Simon Lukomski, Ben Samakonia, Liam Stevens, Stauchilek, Rishan Jacobs, Nelson Alves, Leo Lund, and Tony Huetler. Provisionally the top 10, but plenty of conversations to be had, I'm sure, with the stewards.
Yeah, I feel bad for Krypton and the entire stewards team, because honestly, we are giving them too many decisions to make in terms of our race victories. Heading to the stewards, in terms of involving our top 2, involving a lot of the contenders at the front, and well, this time around, rather than contact, luckily it'll just be penalty removals that they'll have to look at. The pit lane one was a bit of contact, so we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, it was an interesting moment in the pit lane. It was interesting in the final stages, and that was a race that came alive in the final stages, like it usually can do in PSGL PCF.
Indeed, yeah, I'm going to see who we can possibly get in for an interview. Bit difficult to do when you don't actually know what the top 3 actually is, but we'll just go off what it is provisionally. So we'll try and speak to Angelo Di Ortenzio. I believe it was Jan Halliday, and who was the other driver?
We found ourselves with our contenders coming across the line. We will hopefully get to speak with them. Quite a fascinating race, as we mentioned. And yeah, that was wild stuff on the circuit, all being decided, and then to some degree, when it also will come down to the penalties of the circuit. So it's all still to fight for. Ben Sabaconi finding his way, just momentarily getting in there, and then Rapasa found himself as a contender. It was such a fascinating fight all the way till the end. That was absolutely remarkable.
Indeed, and we have got Jan Halliday waiting for us. So let's hear from the second place man on the road. But hey, everything's subject to change, but let's hear from him now. Well, Jan Halliday, a long race. First and foremost, though, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, lovely. Awesome. Well, a bit of an interesting race. Pretty crazy end. how was it for you?
I didn't like the safety car, to be fair. I felt like I was in such a good position for the last laps, also with the fresher tires. I felt so good in the car, and then, yeah, the safety car kind of ruined it. And yeah, I decided to pit. Probably wasn't the best idea looking back at it, but it was the safe strat. And yeah, provisionally it's, I think, P2 or P3, so it's a podium, and I'm quite happy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, provisionally a podium. We expect maybe a possible few penalties to be removed. Why did you go for the more conservative strategy? Why did you not choose to almost chance it and stay out on the road? Because with only a few laps to go, did you think the tyre life was there, or did you just think, let's try and consolidate what you've already got, and that's why you pitted?
There's also some luck involved. It depends how many cars behind you don't pit. So, like, I could be the only one to pit. Everyone could have fresh tires behind me, and it will be over for me. So, of course, it's more wise to go for the pit stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like 5 people that didn't pit, which helped, who was P1. So yeah, also some luck involved, but like I said, it's a podium. I can't be too unhappy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good podium to have. Omi, questions from you?
Well, I'd love to know just a bit of an overview of what are the drivers experiencing when it comes to this game. We, of course, as viewers all watching the action, we are noticing that a bit less, well, quite a lot less overtaking compared to last game. But last game, possibly where we had a lot of slipstream and DRS being very powerful, it's quite the opposite a little bit this game.
Yeah, it's tough, when you're behind someone. Even though I had fresher tires, I was just, washing out understeer when I was behind Luca. So yeah, the races are not that entertaining as well. I hope Coolmasters will change it, because I think if they just improve the slipstream, it would be good. But yeah, it is what it is so far, and we have to get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming and speaking with us in the commentary box, and we hope to have you more often across the season.
All right, thank you guys. See you.
Well, always a pleasure to hear from Jan Halliday, a man with so much racing experience and talent. And, well, if you ever want some great advice on how to go racing quickly, he's always a good one to talk to. And I'm sure, like, it's so difficult in that situation. Do you pit? Don't you pit? It's such a huge risk, because as he was saying, if he was the only one to pit, or if he was the only one not to pit, you're between a rock and a hard place. So I think a lot of drivers really had like such a gamble to make there, but he clearly in hindsight thinks maybe I should have tried something different, but I don't think he'll scoff at the result he got at the other end.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, it's such a hard decision. When the safety car comes out, you're in talk with the engineer at that moment in time, and you've got to decide, what do you do? Do you decide to continue on? Do you decide to come in and make the pit stop? And you don't really have an idea on what your rivals are going to do, because most of the time, not everyone agrees and goes for the same thing. So you could be, even if you decide to stay out, you could be the only driver to stay out. And well, no matter how hard it is to overtake, I'm sure there will be quite a few drivers who will be able to overtake you if they are given 3 laps with fresher tires. So yeah, it's a very hard decision to make, and it's one which can sometimes pay off, but sometimes can also lead to results that they wouldn't have wanted.
Yeah, and here's an interesting stat that's been posted not stat, I suppose possible fact. If the penalties for both drivers get removed, the top 3 would be on the same number of points. 3 drivers tied on points going into Hungary. That would be quite something.
Yeah, that would be quite something. We've had 2 drivers tied on points so far this season. 3 is just another level. So we'll see what the stewards do, but that's exactly what I was saying. One result, Leolon was able to capitalize on Imola. In all honesty, it hasn't gone his way that he would have wanted, to a degree that he would have wanted. So today it's completely different, and he'll be happy that he still was able to get that result at Imola, because it could have meant that he could have lost out so much more today.
Yeah, absolutely. He will maybe be feeling a little bit on the luckier side, but there is plenty more racing action still to come. And if you are Leo Lund or any of the drivers, you've got plenty more opportunities to fight for it. Surprisingly, 7 more rounds of action next time out, heading to Hungary, and then following on, Bahrain, Texas, Japan, Vegas, Brazil, and Mexico. The end to this season is absolute. Well, normally overtaking galore with some of the fastest, most flowing circuits on the calendar, where you see loads of overtakes. Maybe a bit more difficult on this game, but I'm sure drivers, absolutely as they did tonight, will rise to the occasion and prove why they are the best.
They will, absolutely. And they've got some great opportunities. Budapest could also be a very interesting round. Here's the thing. When it's going to deliver, so make sure you are tuning into every single race, because there's definitely been something interesting across every single round. While it may not be as chaotic as we saw in last game, they've given us a bit of an opportunity to basically go back to a bit of normality, and these drivers still are finding ways to impress us. It's quite remarkable, and yeah, hopefully the slipstream can get fixed, because if it does, then we're going to be having moves every single lap. It's going to be absolutely wild stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It is getting more and more crazy every time we just come and go racing. These drivers somehow find just another way to take it up to that next level. But they absolutely will continue to do that as we head to Hungary next weekend. But that's all we've got time for this round at least. But I have no doubt they will continue to deliver next time out. But before we go, final thoughts, Amy, on that race and what's to come?
Well, I think it's fair to say another interesting installment of our campaign, and all eyes will be to the remaining rounds that lie ahead. But make sure you do like and subscribe here at PSGL as well. We really appreciate your support, and tomorrow we'll be back in action with some of these drivers in E-Series, and then you have the PlayStation tiers on Monday. We go back to PCF1 on Wednesday, and then you join us all over again on Thursday. So quite the week of action here at PSGL.
Indeed, yeah, plenty of action still to come across all tiers. But if you're looking for your PCF2 fix, we will be back from 8 p.m. this time next week. And, we'll be heading to the Hungaro Ring for yet more racing action. But, until then, until PSGL returns and we head to Hungary with possibly 3 drivers tied on the same number of points. But until then, when we return for PCF2, take care, stay safe, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.